All right. It is Friday. And as you know, on Fridays, we do the Friday financial wrap up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
Doing well. Paul Volcker told us that pain was coming in Jackson Hole, and little did I know how right he was. We got some crazy inflation readings this week, and it was a wild week.
Very wild week. This is for October the 14th, 2022. I can't believe we're in the fourth quarter. It's already the middle of October. October's flying by. 75 days roughly left in the year. Let's talk about CPI. What happened with inflation this week?
Yeah, so CP. So actually, let's do PPI first because that came out
Okay,
on Wednesday. So
please.
PPI again is Producer Price Index. Essentially, what that is and why you and I care about it is basically what do the wholesalers pay, because it is a leading indicator for future CPI. So again, think about this being, somebody buying, just products from all these different people, and then they sell to a retailers, and then you and I go buy from the retailers. When you and I go to the grocery store or the gas pump, that is CPI, which we will talk about next. But the providers get them from wholesalers. So PPI came out this week, just all kinds of bad, hotter than expected. Last week we got a hot jobs number. Just PPI was hot. There was hope that CPI the following day, which was Thursday yesterday, was going to come in as expected, or expectations are lower, and it didn't. So I'll just jump to CPI. CPI has two measures: headline and core. It has month on month and yearly numbers. Everything was hotter. There's no good news in this. Inflation's getting better. Wage inflation. We've been dumping 1 million barrels of extra gas and oil on the market from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and that's not helping. We were 8.3 last month. Expectations were 8.1, came in at 8.2. Bad. And oh, by the way, OPEC plus, cut off oil. Now we're going to be down 1 million. It's just all kinds of bad heading into winter. Europe, Russia, Ukraine. It's just bad, bad, bad. Then there's core. I've been jumping up and down about core for a couple of months now, and we got 6.3 last time. Expectations were 6.5. We got 6.6. Inflation is hot. It's broadening out. Wage inflation, rent inflation, owner's equivalent rent. Every number in inflation missed higher. And oh, by the way, oil, oil's gonna start going up. If you're in California, you've seen your gas bill go up. It's, dude, just bad. It was a bad week for inflation. Just bad.
Very interesting. And just really delineate, if you can, just elaborate a little bit more on what is core and core to CPI. Maybe just describe that just a little deeper, the relationship there.
Yeah. So when you talk about CPI, again, it's Consumer Price Index. They do two metrics, and they've done this for decades. So this is not new. This goes back to the 80s. So if you were old enough to remember, if you looked in your history book in the 70s, there were these OPEC, gasoline things, and you had to push your car up. And so what Paul Volcker's team and Arthur Burns did, these are Powell peers back in the day, they stripped out energy and food because it was too wild. It was messing with their numbers. So that's what you call cores, is when you take out energy and food. So that's core. So that's everything else. And in core is most interesting to us, especially today, because that's where you have owner's equivalent rent. That's where you have housing. That's where you have wages called services. If we are going to see a wage inflation spiral like I have been calling for, you're going to see it in core. Headline won't really, it'll mask it because of food and energy. But if you're going to see wage inflation and spiral, you're going to see rent inflation ripple through. It will be most obvious in core because you won't have those other two distortions.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So let's talk about Jerome Powell. Let's talk about the Fed, the next meeting. You've talked about this on previous episodes about anticipation, what could happen in the next couple of meetings, potentially rate increases between now and the end of the year. What do you see on the Fed rate level? And then we'll talk about mortgage rates and products. But on the Fed level, what do you see happening going forward?
Yeah. So what I would tell people, if they wanted to, they can go back and listen to last week. My expectation for the last couple of months have been, we're going to get 75 on November 2nd. We're going to get 50 on December 14th. We're going to get 25, the first meeting in January or February. I don't know when that is. And then we get a pause. That has always felt like a reasonable process. It gets us to kind of 4.5 terminal rate on the Fed funds. It's clearly in restrictive, and it's fast without being too fast. Well, now we just got a PPI reading. We just got a strong jobs number. We just got a CPI reading. And I think all of that is at risk. What do I mean? Well, November 2nd, it's now 75 or 100. So we're going to get 75 as a lock, but could we get 100? Absolutely. December 14th was 50 was a lock. Now it's 50 or 75. Now we're not only talking about one rate hike in next year, it might be two. So basically what all this is taking us to is a potential terminal rate of 5%, not 4.5. This week, Wednesday and Thursday, have taken what I believe to be what was a 4.5 or 4.6 terminal rate, and it's going to bump it to 5%. And if you ask me right now, take the over under on 5, I would take the over. I would not have done that on Tuesday. I would have taken the under, and I would have bet heavy on the under. 2 days later, come Thursday, whatever, 5:30 a.m. or 5:40, whenever I read it, I'm taking the over. I'm not going heavy yet, but I wouldn't take the under today.
Very interesting.
And as we'll talk about in a minute, a 5 on the funds rate means cost of capital in real estate goes up. And frankly, cost of capital goes up for companies. Anybody borrowing money, it goes up.
Very interesting. And so let's transition. Let's move forward into mortgage, 30-year fixed mortgage. Obviously, one rental at a time, home buyers. What did you see this week with regard to mortgage interest rates? Yeah. Specifically, we were talking about Fed rate. Yeah. Now we're transitioning, talking about home loans. Yep. 30-year fixed rate mortgages. What did you see? And then maybe even a little variation between products. What did you see this week?
Yeah, so we ticked over 7% early in the week. The highest read I saw, I think, was 7.37 late in the week. We're going higher. And again, when I'm using these rates, these are kind of Mortgage Business Daily or Mortgage News, whatever their daily email alert is. And it's just higher, man. This is best credit, 20% down. So if the best of the best are getting, call it 7.25, what does everybody else get? 7.75, 7.9. I mean, it's up there. Investors are in the 8s. Clearly, non-QM is in the 9s. Rates are higher. And that just means deal flow transactions are going to go down. I talked about a real estate slowdown for a long time. I talked about getting sub 4 million. These are all things I've talked about. It's all happening much faster, right? I thought sub 4 would be January, February, right? An annualized number from National Association Realtors. Dude, we might be there in November. I mean, it's wild what's going on out there.
Unpack, what does the sub 4 mean, and sub 4 compared to what was the number when you show the drop in national transactions? Explain that and just unpack that briefly.
Yeah. So what I was talking about there is a number that comes out from National Association of Realtors, NAR. It was generally reported around the middle of the month for the previous month. It is an annualized number. So for example, at the peak of 2021, we were doing roughly 6.6 million transactions. That's again an annualized number. I believe what we are going to see sooner rather than later is sub 4 million transactions. That's a hell of a hit. And yes, there will be some price deterioration in many markets, but not everywhere. Just as we talked about, the real estate slowdown's coming. If you are just used to doing, stick the sign in the yard, wait for the phone to ring, it's a different market. We're going to get a lot of people who don't sell. We are going through a year, Ty, maybe 18 months, maybe 2 years, where we have record demand destruction. I have not seen affordability this low, and I've been doing this a long time. And it's getting worse.
Yep.
It's getting worse.
Yep.
But now what we are going to have to unpack for at least a year and maybe 18, maybe 24 months is supply destruction. We are going to see active listings fall into the end of the year because people don't have to sell. Unemployment is still 3.5%. Yes, layoffs are coming, but those are months down the line, quarters down the line. Then there's a 6-month process to this and a year for that. Any of this pain that people are hoping comes quickly is not coming quickly. So transactions are going down. Normal, just traditional sales are going to be difficult to come by. And as I talk about, and I started using this yesterday, it just came to me. We are standing in front of the tree of fear. And we are all getting closer and closer. And if you've ever been close to a tree and you get closer, it's all you see. I am trying to teach, help, pull people back, have you step back 6, 8, 10 feet so you can see the forest of opportunity. There's going to be so much opportunity out there for the creative investor. If you are creative like Ty, who's got 30 years in the business, knows all the ways to find a motivated seller, talk to them, create win-win transactions, you are going to have an amazing couple of years. I am marketing to owners with lots of equity. I am offering to pay their price. I am going to agents with days on market at 90 days saying, let me give you an offer. Maybe we can create. I am paying somebody to make phone calls for me because I know there's opportunity out there. We just got to go find them. Multiple communications, lots of follow-up. The last year, Ty, it's been speed. The next 2 years are follow-up, communication, education, doing the right thing for the seller. I do not want to see people take advantage of sellers. You're doing a bad deal or shortcut or do bad paper, you are a bad actor and I don't approve. There is a right way to help people. We are going to do that in Fresno. You are helping me blow out the hub. We are going to get more and more sellers that come to the hub saying, damn it, I'm getting a divorce. I have a job transfer. How can you help? And we're going to do that. Whether we do something or not, we're going to tell them, hey, here's a template for a forbearance letter. Here's this, here's that. We just talked to a VA buyer down in San Diego, California, who wants to buy a fourplex. The video goes tonight or goes Thursday at 5:00. We helped a VA buyer trying to do 3.5% house hack in Fresno. We're going to help people, buyers and sellers. And this is a passion. We're going to document the stories because when you document stories, others will see benefit. So I look forward to doing all of this with you. And of course, you're helping me lead an event on the 19th with the man, myth, the legend, Pace and Jamil around creative financing. There could be no better time for this event. REI collaboration for $27 measly. Are you kidding me? Yeah, there's no better time. It's the only people that are going to win the next 2 years are creative. And I need to learn, and I'm going to be sitting there with my notepad taking notes.
I love it. I love it. So there you have it, folks, how to win. We have 2 events, actually. So the first event, November 12th, one rental at a time event. It is completely sold out. It sold out within, what, 36 hours?
Yeah, about 70 hours. So under 3 days.
Under 3 days. Sold out.
Pretty cool.
I did, by the time I got my artwork up, the thing you were emailing me saying, hey, dude, I think we're selling out in a few minutes. Yeah. So we still have a few tickets left for November the 19th. And again, this isn't a pit. It's a $27 event. It's a free event. Let's be very clear.
We're donating. We're donating them. Yeah. It's
tell them what we're doing. Tell them what we're doing. We're helping out.
Yeah. So one of the big things that you will see on my channel and Ty's been a part of is we're big givers. We're using the ticket sales to get butts in seats because we have seen historically, if it's free, we get a lot of people that sign up that don't show. We realize that if we have you charged for it, you'll show up. It's just how it works. It's human nature, I guess. But given we're spending well over 10 grand, it might be close to 20 grand on the event ourselves collectively. We're also going to be donating, and that's a big thing for us. We have found a smaller charity that's looking to buy a vehicle. So we are going to be donating to that cause. And a good friend of ours, Brad, is kind of spearheading this. So we're going to support that. And we just love giving back. This entire community is built on Go Giving. And Sometimes that's time, like the 19th, and sometimes that's money. So yeah, it's going to be fun. And again, I can't stress this enough. If you are in real estate and you want to win the next 2 years, you have to skill up. You have to
Yep.
squat up. You have to be a part of something like this. And I'm glad to be locking arms with Ty for the next couple of years. And if you're going to come, bring your books. I'll autograph them. We'll take some pictures, and we'll learn together.
I love it, folks. So thank you, Michael, for all that you do. You can find daily financial news, obviously one rental at a time, on YouTube. You can also find him on social media, Instagram, Facebook, all the places at one rental at a time. Michael, thank you for all that you do and share. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Bye, bud. Thanks.